Holden Caulfield is an interesting character. Holden grew up in Pennsylvania, where he attended Pensy Prep High School. Throughout the story, Holden is conveyed to have always struggled with school, leading to him getting expelled from 4 different schools. However, Holden is depicted to have strong relationships with younger children throughout the story, with one of the primary relationships being with his sister Phoebe. Their relationship reveals Holden's emphasis on ensuring that younger children are prepared before entering the phony adult world. Furthermore, Holden has been struggling emotionally after the death of his younger brother, Ali. As a result, the author conveys Holden's isolation and depression within society, leading him to lack interest in everything he does. Moreover, Holden is frequently depicted as a depressed and lousy teenager strolling on his own in New York City. Holden Caulfield deals with the challenges of loss, isolation, and the complexities of growing up. His story is a reflection of the struggles we all face in navigating the challenges of life today.
Depressed and lousy is a way that even more people feel now. 11.5% of teens in 2023 have depression, according to Mental Health America, when in 1951, only 2.9% of teens had depression. But also, the topic of mental health wasn't widely discussed, so it was harder to receive treatment. Unlike Holden, students have a lot of access to mental health, like our school psychologists and counselors. Also, not until the 2010s was mental health coverage considered in insurance plans, so it was harder to have access to it. Now, it is required for all insurance plans to cover mental health. Not only was it harder to access, it was also frowned upon for men to express their mental health issues, when now it's highly encouraged, especially in schools.
In this story, Holden has been removed from multiple schools. The final school that he was removed from is Pensy, which was due to him failing multiple classes. After being expelled, Holden decides to venture out into New York as an adolescent that still has a lot to learn. However, with his current mental state and lack of knowledge or education, he ends up making many rash decisions and furthers his hate for the adult world. It is seen throughout The Catcher in the Rye that without a proper base built from education, it is much harder to both be happy and successful in the real world. We see how at Westview the teachers and staff strive to help students build a stable foundation, as well as do all that they are able to in order to prepare the students what they need as they move on forward in life. In the story, Holden communicated with one of his teachers, who he calls Old Spencer. After a discussion with Old Spencer about him flunking most of his classes and getting removed from schools, Old Spencer says to Holden, "Do you feel absolutely no concern for your future, boy?" And after Holden responds that he does care, Old Spencer repeats that he will when it's too late. This shows how the teacher Old Spencer realizes that due to Holden not taking his education seriously, he knows that there is a high possibility that Holden will end up in an unhealthy condition and make impulsive decisions, which ultimately he ends up doing.
The impulsive and rash decision Holden ends up doing is ultimately summed up from the transition of adolescence to adulthood, which is repeatedly represented through the story. Holden struggles as he grows up and rebels against the phonies in society. He tries to find his true self while also wanting to fit into the world around him. Many teens today also struggle to find who they are, as social media is a way for people to present filtered versions of themselves. They want to achieve societal expectations, which can be challenging as they only see the good on social media. Teens also struggle with independence and responsibilities of an adult, as there is pressure for teens to grow up with education and society leading them into adulthood. Being able to balance a personal life while also being in school is difficult for most, and having to take on the responsibilities of an adult is a challenge that is overwhelming. In the book, Holden struggled as he faced multiple academic challenges and couldn't take the responsibilities of growing up.